Hey, hi. This is The World According to Steph. I believe it's chapter 24. Yeah, we're really moving, believe me. Um, I have been really sick, and I'm still really sick. Just warning you right now. If you notice a patch here, almost covering my tattoo, uh, it is a lidoderm patch, and it's got medicine in because I have these horrible, um, like chicken pox things, only much worse. They've attacked my actual nerves. And Sunday, my doctor, one of my doctors, thank God, came to my rescue and actually did an epidural on my spine, in my thoracic spine, which is the middle part of your spine. And I know a lot about the spine because I've had 4 spinal operations and 9 levels have been fused. And the bottom is failing totally and completely. So, the doctor terms it 2 failed um, surgeries. And truthfully, if you want my opinion, I think any time they do surgery on your spine, they're going to fail. In the end, it will fail. And I hate to tell people that because, you get very hopeful before you do something like that. You make that decision. And unfortunately, the orthopedic doctors and the neurosurgeons do not actually know how to fix the spine as well as they want to. And I'm not putting them down. I've made an observation based on my own experiences, and not just mine. Other people too. I've been involved in quite a bit of therapy with others, trying to help them deal with the magnitude of pain that comes from horrible spinal issues. I've had my neck broken and I've had my lower back broken. So, I've had a lot of terrible things have been done to me. And, but I'm here and I'm a happy woman for the most part. Not when I'm in terrible pain though. But anyway, I was right back on Google Plus Sunday night after I'd gone. I still have scars from where the nurses tried to get my veins. I'm part Native American. Okay, my mother has the tiniest veins in the world. I don't know. And I told the nurses that, and they said, "Oh, well, that explains it." I guess if you've got any Native American in you, you're going to have a chance of teeny tiny veins, okay? And that's what I got. So now all they can use are my hands. That's it. And they can't use this arm because it has a permanent broken bone, tiny little broken bone in the elbow. So, okay, that's enough about me. Let's talk about some things. There's been a lot of stuff happening on Google Plus, and some that's good and some that isn't so good. And I want to address that. It's sad when people attack each other. We can't. What's that all about? You have to ask yourself, why would someone want to attack somebody else? What is the reasoning behind that? And I've found some information that might help anyone who feels that they're being attacked. And also, I want to talk about something else that came up today. Somebody posted on Google Plus about the Greek. They had the Greek statues in a museum, and to me, I think it's beautiful. The Greeks were masters at building things. They were masters at physical awareness. They were unbelievable. They were highly intelligent. They were teaching metaphysics even at that point. Aristotle actually was, if he did not declare that he believed in the gods, he had to die. So a month later, he died. He believed in one God. One God. It went that far back. You have to think about this. See, everybody, well, the people I talk to, and some of the history that I've learned kind of makes it look like the Jewish people, the Jewish religion, gave us a one God concept, but that's not true. That's not true at all. It came from Egypt long before the Jewish people. I know a lot about history. History was actually one of my favorite subjects in school. I did take a history class just because I wanted to. Of course, it ended up I could use those history classes towards my final degree. So it worked out really good. But anyway, I would like to read some things to you. First of all, we also talked today about in Google Plus again. I am talking about Google Plus because I have some very good friends online there, and I am very concerned about what's been happening in their lives and what I see happening on some comments that are being made. We don't want to be Facebook. We're not Facebook. We present things, artistic things, political things. We do all kinds of things. We don't just, I know what Facebook is. It's a social gathering. Well, we're a social gathering, but we don't do it the same way. It's a lot different. Okay, so enough about that. Now, this is from a book that I have called Women Who Run with the Wolves. And believe me, it is a rough book to read. And I've talked about this before. The woman who wrote it, and I don't have her name written down, and I'm sorry. I will get that though. But the woman who wrote it was just an amazingly, highly intelligent woman. So, reading what she also was either a psychiatrist or a psychologist, I don't know which, I can't remember. But the point is that this book taught me so much about myself and about my growth, my spiritual growth. Now, I may have said this one before, but I'm going to do a few more. Women Who Run with Wolves. This is what it's from. For generally, balance makes our lives larger and imbalance makes our lives smaller. Now, that's extremely true, isn't it? If we're out of balance, we're pretty seriously in trouble, aren't we? I know I am. I can tell you all about being out of balance. In fact, if you start reading my book online, you will see that. You'll see, oh my goodness, how could this woman be the way she is today after everything my life was never in balance until about 18 years ago. And then I started working towards healing my soul 18 years ago. I don't consider myself, all-knowing or anything. I am learning, just like everybody else. Okay. And then she said, I love this. The work is to keep doing the work. Isn't that something? The work is to keep doing the work. To keep being in balance. It takes some work to do that. Okay? Now, I believe I had some other things here. I'd like to read those too. And maybe I don't. I thought I did, but let's see. Let's see what we got here. You know, actually, not on her, but some spiritual people that I have worked with have given me some things that are right in line with all of this. So we'll read those, and then I'm going to read a little bit of Emmet Fox. Okay, this is also about balance. Keeping emotional balance one day at a time, and make self-searching a mode of habit. Now, self-searching, what do we mean by that? We mean to search within ourselves, to find out. For instance, I have horrible shingles right now, and it just suddenly came up last Tuesday, a week from now, and I thought it was a bug bite. I had no idea it was shingles until it just continued to spread and get worse and worse, and before I knew it, I was in the most horrific pain. And so apparently, I have some self-searching to do. Now, I'm under a lot of stress right now, and I have a feeling that part of this came from that. I have a sister who's trying to help with my mother because my mother has Alzheimer's and heart disease, and she's almost on her way out right now. She does not know who she is. You can't talk to her anymore. And she's still walking with the walker, but our mother is not with us anymore. And that's very, very difficult. And my sister informed me that she has contracted a UTI, which a lot of women get, especially when they get very stressed. So, not unusual. And what I told her was, dear sister, you need to take care of yourself first and foremost. Before you can take care of anybody else, you have to take care of you. Excuse that. That's somebody trying to get my attention. Now, let me read a few more here. To seek, I'm going to explain this, okay? To seek where we are fearful, dishonest, or angry. Yeah, we have to seek that out. How we patiently correct our faults and defects every day. You know, do we think that our faults go away forever? No. They'll come back in an instant if we allow it. So, we cannot be doing that. We just can't. We have got to take care of things. We have got to continue to do that self-searching, watch for it, make sure that it's not coming back. Okay. Emotional hangovers. Oh, this is a goodie. Just like if you had too much alcohol one night, okay? I got a little place up here that kind of itches, and I'm trying not to itch it. It's almost like chicken pox now, parts of it, but we're working on it. Okay, we can make an enemy of a good friend with an emotional hangover. Now, I'm going to explain that a little bit. Let's say that I'm going to use myself as an example, as a matter of fact. I had a wonderful friend. She was not heterosexual. She was gay. I've known a lot of gay people. They've always been my friends. I've never had, I've done all kinds of fun stuff with them, and it really is very cool. It's a different world for me because I am not gay, but on the other hand, I honor and respect anybody's choices in life. And then at any rate, she was a very good friend of mine. I've known her 10 years. Well, we went up to the Mayo Clinic for me, and I displayed some of my emotional hangovers on the way up. I allowed her to drive my car, and it's hard for me to let go. It isn't anymore, but back then I still had a lot to work on. And so I was yelling at the cars, and I was, the old Steph was coming back. And she couldn't handle it. When we got up there, I could tell that there was a serious problem with my dear friend, that she was very upset. But instead of coming to me and talking to me about it, she did something very unusual. She just totally ended our friendship. I never expected that at all. But that was okay. I understood. Now, that taught me a lesson. Okay, Steph, stop doing that. You shouldn't be, you're judging people. When you yell at other people from your car, you're making judgment calls. That's simply what it is. So, you can make an enemy of a good friend, and I did. Now, I did more than that years ago when I was a wild thing, and if you read my book, you'll see that, or my mini series, or whatever we want to call it. Okay. Some of this is hard for me to even read because I wrote it. Okay, here's an important lesson. Restraint of tongue and pen. Now, we don't write as much as we used to write. We don't actually physically write that much anymore. We have credit cards that we slide now. I don't even carry money or cash with me ever. Not ever. And I very rarely write a check. And even if I did, usually the place I write it at, they just go ahead and put all the information on it and it clears it right then and there. It's pretty amazing what we've done with our technology already. But anyway, so restraint of tongue and pen could mean restraint of tongue and email. Email is a very dangerous thing, really, because for one thing, anybody can get into it. Don't think it's safe at all. I used to be a programmer. I do know about this. And secondly, when you email something and it isn't properly written or nicely written, it can come back and really bite you. And I could give an example of that too. I had a boss that was desperately trying to get rid of me, and she lied totally and completely on my review. This was a review that I needed, and I needed to stay working for another 2 more years to, I wanted to. I wanted to make sure that they knew that I was one of their good people, because something had happened at work. We had a whole new set of leaders, and they were pretty difficult to work for. They had changed the way our working environment was. We had always been free to come and go as we wanted because we worked 24-hour days, really. We were on call constantly, kind of like a doctor. But anyway, she did that. Well, the good news is that I keep any important in my working environment. I kept any important emails, and especially from a boss or a supervisor or whatever you want to call them. And so I had all the emails that she had sent me, and my emails that I had sent back to her. And I produced those the next day, and I said, okay, I had all kinds of stuff. And I said, okay, now let's review the review again, because I believe that everything that was said in this review is untrue, which it was. It was an attempt to put me on probation and get rid of me. They knew that I had serious back problems, and they knew that probably I was eventually going to make a final leave. They knew that. And I think that the upper management in IT had decided that they weren't going to allow me to be qualified for disability to the company, which I'd been paying for 12 years or 10 years at that point. Now, it came out of my check. In fact, 30% of my check went towards taxes, insurance, and disability. 30% of the money that I made. So what I actually brought home was not anything near what my pay scale was. I want people to know that, because I've read a lot of stuff about people being disabled and they're being accused of taking stuff for free. Well, that's not true at all. I pay for Medicare right now. Everybody does. So keep that in mind. Okay, so self-searching can eliminate all of this. Self-searching. Restraint of tongue and pen keeps us humble. Humble. How about that? Humble. What a concept. It fringes humility on a daily basis. Okay? Now you may not understand that. When we talk about humility and being humble, some people think that that's a weakness, but in actuality, it's a great strength to have, and it's very difficult to maintain. We always want the last word, and I see it all the time. I want the last word. I want the last word. You're not right. I'm right. I'm right. You're not right. It's ridiculous. So I don't do that. I just say what I need to say, and that's it. And if people want to keep hammering about it, go ahead. But I'm not going to defend myself, because I don't need to. And I feel that way about it. So one thing that helps me is remembering restraint of tongue and pen. Intense humility keeps us from taking ourselves too seriously. And we check our motives always. We need to check our motives. We keep hidden agendas out in open. Okay? Stop with the hidden agendas. Okay? Let's put a stop to that. Now, self-restraint and self-discipline help us fulfill the ideal of humility, true humility and balance. They go together. Self-restraint and self-discipline. Think about that. Okay? Self-restraint and self-discipline. Maybe I wouldn't have lost my friend if I'd kept my mouth shut. Restraint of tongue. Maybe I wouldn't have lost her. She was surprised because she knew how spiritual I really was. But for some reason, I did not feel very spiritual during that drive. That was about a 5-hour drive from where we lived. And plus it was bad weather. So I was not using restraint of tongue by any means. Now, sure knowledge, quiet opinion uh, will create balance and harmony. Okay? Sure knowledge, quiet opinion will create balance and harmony. That is an absolute ideal that we all should be shooting for. Now, in the mornings, here's a suggestion. Before we think, we must pray. Now, I know that's hard, but I do it mostly. I thank God every day for what I'm given. And we need to meditate for 10 minutes at least. Now, that's kind of hard if you don't know how to meditate, but I've given instructions. So it's not that hard. Actually, it's very simple. We're trying to find light, remember? Okay. Now, we need to meditate for 10 minutes and build up to 45 minutes. And that is really tough. And you got to remember, the old brain here is really, it's hard to shut it up. Because that's what you have to do. You have to shut your mind up. You have to let your soul do, you have to reach in to your soul. And you have to see the light. That's what you must do. Okay. Let's see if I've got anything really good on this, because I really want to get to something else very quickly here. Okay. Here's another nice little rule. Give expecting nothing in return. Absolutely nothing in return. Just give it. And just be grateful that they took your gift. Okay? Just give it without expecting anything. Because when you have expectations, I guarantee you will be disappointed. Okay, love with no price tag. How about that? Okay. Love, joy is a free gift. We find out whether we're ready for how we work the principles that I've been talking about. Okay? Alright, now, I don't know if I'm going to read it much more of this. Oh, well, yeah, I better do this. Okay, now, I haven't given you all the principles. There's a whole bunch, actually. And I'm going to go through those, but I want to get to some stuff that's very important right now. But I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, okay? Now, we cannot give advice. We do not have the answers. We cannot play God. We just can't. Growing spiritually is the answer to all of our problems. It doesn't matter what you believe in, okay? Growing spiritually is the answer to all our problems. I don't care what you believe in at all, none at all. Okay, we start to dominate people. We need to re-examine by humble example. If we start to dominate again, if we try to control someone, then we need to do a self-examination and find out what's going on. Why do we feel that we need to dominate some particular person? Okay, we need to depend on God in every way. And by that I mean, look at me. If I did depend on God, I prayed deeply for help. And the next thing I knew, I had help. Plenty of it. Plenty of it. It was like a miracle. And I am so grateful to my God, my Creator. Now, respond to people with love and compassion rather than intolerance and rudeness. Oh, that's a nice little lesson, isn't it? It really is. Think about it. Responding to them in that way. Now, there's a lot of really good other stuff I'd like to read on this, but I'm not going to read that. But I am going to talk about a thing called full surrender in your life, okay? Now, this is important. Full surrender means that you're surrendering totally to your Creator or your God, whatever religion you are, makes no difference, okay? The first thing that you do is you meditate and you pray. That's the very first thing. Then you work on your humility and your balance. You do self-searching. Okay? Number 3, you work with somebody else who has issues. Now, I don't have any problem with that because I've got a family full of them. But I love them. Believe me, I love them. So, I want to help them in any way I can. But I cannot control what they do. I can't make them stop if they're doing something that's going to hurt them. They're just going to have to learn themselves. But I can make suggestions, and that's helping. And I can always love them and let them know that they are loved. 4, do a gratitude list. Okay, gratitude list, simple. I usually tell people to write down 5 things, okay? Your breathing. I'd be grateful about that, right? Maybe you have family things going on and somebody gets better. So you can be grateful for that. You can be grateful for your own health. You can be grateful that you have food in the refrigerator, if you do. And if you don't, you can be grateful that you, in the knowledge that God will provide your needs. God will provide those needs, okay? Trust me, if you read my book, or my mini-series, or whatever it is, you're going to find out that God will do it, even if you don't think you believe in a God. Because, trust me, there was a time when I didn't think I believed in a God. Okay? This is from Emmet Fox. Now, I'm going pretty fast here, but we'll be all right. Now, I'm going to read something out of his Sermon on the Mount. Okay? Life does not need to watch every bite that he puts into his mouth until eating becomes a burden. He eats naturally and spontaneously of the ordinary food that comes along, knowing that his habitual right thought will take care of his diet too. If he had been accustomed to eating more than was good for him, the fact that he now prays every day for wisdom and guidance. See, that is what I have been taught to pray for. Wisdom and guidance. Not for any particular thing. Wisdom and guidance. Because with that, then I will know what to do. So, in general, would lead to his eating less. And we're talking about somebody that's, eating way too much and they're overweight. and scientific daily prayer would cause him to eat more until the right quantity was reached. And so that works both ways. Okay? The same principle applies to all the details of everyday living. If you pray for yourself in the right way every day, you will find that the minor changes of life will gradually fall correctly into place on your own part. Okay? Into place their own accord without any trouble on your part. Contrast this with the usual method of trying to get everything right by separately organizing 1,000 petty details, and you will appreciate wonderfully the new spiritual basis sets you free. If thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. This is the summation of all truth. Verily, if the eye be single, the whole body of experience shall be full of light. The eye symbolizes spiritual perception. Whatever you give your attention to is the thing that governs your life. Attention is the key. Your free will lies in directing your attention. Whatever you steadfastly direct your attention to will come into your life and dominate it. If you do not direct your attention consistently to anything in particular, and many people do not, then nothing in particular will come into your life. You will be like a drifting log. If you direct your attention to the outer world of manifestation, which is in its nature continually shifting and changing, you're bound to have unhappiness, poverty, and ill health. Whereas if you direct your attention to God, if the glory of God comes first from you and to express His will, and he says his, but I have another one from Emmet, and he talks about not calling God his or her or anything. But in this part, he's talking about Sermon on the Mount, so he's really talking about the Son of God, Jesus. His will becomes the rule of your life, and your eye is single, and your whole body or embodiment will be full of light. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. Therefore I say unto you, take no thought for your life, what ye shall eat, or what ye shall drink, nor yet for your body, what ye shall put on. Is not the life more the meat, and the body than raiment? Behold the fowls of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much better than they? Which of you, by taking thought, add 1 cubit into his stature? And why take ye thought for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. And I say unto you, that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Wherefore, if God so clothe the grass of the field, which today is, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? I hope you're understanding some of this. Therefore take no thought, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or wherewithal shall we be clothed? For after all these things do the Gentiles seek. For your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Now, I'm not sure if I want to, well, yeah, I do. Many Christians have accepted these facts. This is from Matthew, actually. Some of it. And some is from Emmet, so I just want you to understand that. Many Christians have accepted these facts theoretically, but have been less than half-hearted when it came to their practical application. Emmet doesn't fool around, he tells the truth. And this vacillation has landed them in the massive difficulties that always follow upon inconsistency and weakness. Imbalance is part of that too, and not being humble. Please remember that. He didn't say it, but some other people have said it now. It is found that those who are altogether upon the material basis have, on the whole, a better time, for they are at least living in accordance with the best that they know, and plainly being as they understand it. To try to rest sometimes upon one basis and sometimes upon the other is to try to serve two masters. And this, of course, cannot be done. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. He repeats what Jesus the Christ said. Man is essentially spiritual, the image and likeness of God, and therefore he is made for the spiritual basis, and he cannot really succeed on any other. The birds of the air and the lilies of the field furnish a striking lesson to man in their complete adaptation to the laws of their own respective planes. We have laws too that we must abide by to be in balance. We have to set boundaries for ourselves. Now, he goes on talking about lilies and then about the joy that Jesus had in mind as being our true birthright. Of course, he did not mean that you as a human being are to copy the lives or the methods of the birds and flowers, literally, for you are infinitely higher in the scale of creation than they are. The lesson is that you are to adapt yourself as completely to your element as they do to theirs. Your true element is the presence of God. Augustine said, Thou hast made for thyself. Thou hast made us for thyself, and our hearts are restless until they repose in thee. When man accepts the truth that in God he lives and moves, and has his being as completely and unquestionably as the birds, and the flowers accept the truth of their condition, he will demonstrate as easily and as thoroughly as they do. Now, there's a lot more about this, but I'm not going to read it right now. And I appreciate you being patient with me and allowing me to read these things to you. But it all boils down to simple things. And we must keep life simple. We can't, when we complicate things in our lives, these things happen. You know, you have to put patches on yourself because you've got some terrible things happening to you. And apparently I have allowed the stress of life to affect me. I realize that today. I know that. And I understand it perfectly. I know where all of this came from. So I am one of your examples in person. I did exactly what I should never have done. I let all the stress of other people compound my life, and I can't do that. In fact, my daughter has become very wise, and she realizes it completely. And she did not say this to me, but I learned from her that we cannot build drama scenes for ourselves. We must live in a simplistic way. And that is really what that book was talking about. And that's also what my readings from some of my spiritual advisors were also talking about. Balance and humility, those are things that we must remember. And the surrender. Mm-hmm. Every day you need to do that. Every single day. And we need to stay in this day. We don't need to go into the past. We don't need to try to go into the future because we don't know what the future holds. I certainly don't. Do you? I can't predict it. No one can. Well, anyway, I'm happy to have been able to talk to you, even in the condition I'm in. But now I need to rest. See, I can tell when I need to rest. And today, I need to rest right now. So I'm going to say goodbye. And thank you for watching.